Well, guys, you've got us in the shed again. There's no doubt about it. Seems to be our second home.
And we're not working on stuff, we're just watching stuff.
Yeah, we're just watching stuff. I've got a couple of clips here to show you. Now, these clips are some of our most remote locations that we've ever visited in Australia over the course of All for Adventure.
And we do go to a lot of remote places.
Now, some pretty cool clips on here.
I'm gonna have to put my old person glasses on.
Oh, okay. Now, you remember this location?
Pink River.
Yeah, you don't get water in this river very often, mate, but it is the Fink, which is pretty much close to the centre of Australia. I'll tell you what, there were times there and I think, man, something's got to break, something's got to break. You break down out there, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. About 14 k's down this road, mate. You wouldn't believe it, but it is the geographical centre of Australia. Remember that?
Yep.
It was the centre of Australia. There was a race was on.
Jase and I had a bit of a race. There's like two roads weaving into the middle of it. I'm in front at the moment. No, got him on. Here it is. We'll be first to set of Australia. Woo!
How'd you get in front of me?
We're first to serve Australia, here it is.
No, me.
Oh, we made it, mate.
Centre of Australia. Not every day you get to the centre of Australia, mate, eh?
Nope. That was hard work too.
Oh.
Let me tell you. That was fun.
Yeah, it's amazing how a landmark, a landmark becomes a significant place, doesn't it? Like the tip of Cape York.
It's about the journey getting there.
Yeah, that too. The first thing I'm noticing on this track, mate, is it's a lot more overgrown.
Yeah, it doesn't get used much.
So I think we're in for a shock, maybe. Oh, how many times we hear that?
Where are we here? I've got no idea.
Oh, where are we?
Memory, we've been up here a long time ago. We got a pretty fair four-wheel drive track to get there. Day of four-wheel driving coming up. Just for something different.
Just turned straight onto this track and it's already exciting.
Slow going, buddy. We won't be getting there in any hurry today.
I don't know about you, but those places, I can't get enough of that place.
No, that was awesome.
Kimberly is really that is always one of my favourite.
And that track was gone this year. Like, we went there years earlier, and then no one had traversed it, and the track was gone.
Yeah, it was washed out. Same old story, isn't it? Towing big stuff into places, remote as hell.
Yeah. There's no doubt this track's giving us a proper workout.
In the hole.
Your caravan's in it, eh?
Winch time. We totally lost that track for a while. Remember, we couldn't find it.
Jungle's getting a bit thick in here, mate.
It is unbelievable, this track.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I can't see the track. I think I've lost it.
That can't be good.
I know the one thing over the years we have learnt that you can't. When you lose the track, you just can't keep going and thinking, oh, you'll meet up with it, because straight away you lose that track. Then if you don't find that track back again, you're just
done.
Yeah, you're done. You got to go back.
And the more tracks you make, it makes it even harder then.
Yeah, especially if you've got multiple vehicles. We don't want to sort of get lost in the dark, so we're going to pull up camp and see how we go. Cook up a bit of grub and sit around the fire and see what happens in the morning. Salt pans, had everything going for it, that track. But it was to get us to that awesome location.
Yeah.
How are we looking, fellas? We mustn't be far off the coast.
Yeah, no, we're not far at all.
We've got this sandstone country which usually skirts the coastline. There, that is why. Look at that. You cannot.
No, you can't get it. Yeah.
You don't just drive down the road to the local caravan park and get a location like that.
No, you don't.
That's the thing about it.
And we've got our quad bikes and buggies and caravan there.
Yes.
We've got our setup.
Yeah, next thing you know, we're out and about and exploring even more of that location. Got the boat off. It's all happening. So, Jesse, what do you think about this place, mate?
Mate, it's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I knew when I was going to head out with you blokes, I was going to go to some cool places, but You couldn't even imagine a place like this. This is unreal.
Yeah, it's pretty full on. It takes a bit to get here, but that's the thing. So that's what makes it, I reckon, really special.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. If you push a little bit harder, you can find those really cool remote locations. Mate, there's another one here. You're going to enjoy this one. We're heading up to PJ's place because I'm hoping he's got something that's going to fit, because even though I can get spare parts from Brisbane, but they're going to take a lot of time. So I'm sort of, you know, half hoping that maybe there's another drive shaft up there or another yoke that we can use to repair it.
Where PJ lives, he's very secluded, very hard to get there. It's not a long way from the town of Wudjil, but it is a full day's mission just to get to his house, and you need chains or a good four-wheel drive to get up his driveway.
I suppose my driveway is either the best driveway in Queensland or the worst driveway in Queensland. It depends on your persuasion.
Oh, PJ.
Yeah, see, you know what really impressed me about PJ? Is this guy, yeah, where he lives. Like, he obviously enjoys that type of isolation.
Yeah, that's proper.
And that sort of basic living, you know, off-grid.
Yeah, some rough, steep, off-camber, rutted sections. It gets slippery. A few vehicles have gone off. I've rolled off there. Mates have rolled off it. You know, a few cars have gone off. It's just all part of the course. So I enjoy it. Makes going home interesting.
We had chains for his full drive, just on the driveway.
Imagine you're going down, he's going down to the shop to get some groceries, and then on the way back it rains, like 100 mils of rain.
Oh, it's a full day mission to go to Wudjil.
Yeah.
What a view. Bloody nice. Top of the world up here. It's a long, hard drive to get to the top of his driveway.
Look at this little oasis on top of the hill.
I love looking through his shed. He had stuff, mate.
Yeah.
You could fix anything out of that shed.
Stuff stacked on top of stuff on top of stuff.
Most people quite often wonder, probably first, where's your television? You know, like that's probably the first thing. Electricity, solar, which is not the best, based in, you know, in the wet tropics area where it rains more often than not. But it gets me by. I don't need much in the way of electricity. Hot water, the same thing, comes from wood. You know, gas is running the fridge, which is confusing for a lot of people to see a little flame running the fridge. But it's basically fairly self-sufficient, you know, and it's just life. It's like camping, you know. Camping's quite comfortable nowadays with fridges and hot showers and all that sort of stuff. So it's like five-star camping.
It was so basic, but basic living. Like literally, the wind was blowing in one corner of the, you know, the rain come in on, you know, depending on which way the direction it was coming from.
I haven't seen the drone shots of that before.
The view's pretty spectacular. Most people confirm that every time they come up. It's at least 300 degrees. I can see out to the ocean at times.
Imagine PJ trying to get insurance.
House and contents.
Oh, you remember this one. We took all our gear on a big barge and dropped it off on an island in the middle of Arnhem Land.
Track can be interesting enough during the day, not at night.
And drove all the way out, like I mean drove for like days.
This is Asaraya.
What's your name?
Asaraya.
Groot Island, that's it, you're on it. Yeah, we drove for days on that
We did
track.
so.
Oh, mate. And then when we got there, how was it? Like,
Oh, mate, that was one of the best places we've ever
you're
been.
no kidding.
That was awesome.
Hey, mate, how good looking is this little bay?
There's not too many nicer places. I've driven the truck on a beach, that's for sure. Well, there's no one else, I don't think anyone else has taken their quad bikes to Groot Island and got to go where we went. No one.
You could probably say that.
Yep. And that lagoon we went and fished?
Yeah.
No one.
No. Dead set. No one had put a tinny on it and fished it.
Even the TOs didn't know a fish were in there.
No. That's insane. Look at that sandstone country.
Yeah. what's going on? You got a big tree alongside you there.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a tap.
Yeah, it's when you go up on that rock, eh? That's going to hit it. It's going to hit it proper. You might have to come back and try and get your trailer over a bit.
Yeah, well, I can't. I got piles of rocks on my right-hand side, driver's side.
Good question. Like, I know Club 4x4 Insurance, they actually cover the retrieval of your vehicle when you break down in remoteness.
Yes!
Do you reckon
100%.
Do you reckon they'd recover your retrieve from Groot?
Well, that's what they do. That's exactly what they do.
That would be a recovery bill from hell.
Yeah, but look at it like this. Groot Island is a community, has a community, it has a mine on it.
Yeah.
So they'd probably...
Get it back to the mine.
Well, maybe. I don't know how they do it. We'll leave that up to those guys because they do insure your vehicle to be recovered in the most remote locations in Australia.
So all those cars you see who go drive near the telly track, they go through Nolan's at the end of the telly track and they get drowned.
Yeah.
And then you see them off to
Oh,
the
that's
end.
easy. That's easy. That's just down the road.
If you've got Club 4x4 Insurance and your car goes on the tilt tray, you're good.
You're good. You're
Otherwise, it's going to cost you a squillion.
Mate, I've got one more clip here, and you're going to love this clip. So I think we pushed the boundaries a little bit on this one. Well, we've decided that we're going to take the quad bike, the side-by-side, and Simon's D-Max, just to lessen the amount of tyres that are actually going to be on the ground. So the trailers will stay, and we're going to head off and see how bad this bush is going to get.
Tanamite.
Tanamite, that's it. The Tanamite Desert, mate.
Looking for the
Cuckoo Bar.
Yeah, the Cuckoo
And
Bar
the
and
plaque.
the plaque. That's right.
Yep, that's the one. So this is 1977, and that guy there, that young fella there, is Dick Smith. And that plaque is what we're going to go and try and find as well. And the reason for that is because Dick was very significant in finding the Cuckoo Bar. Like, he spent a lot of time, nearly 2 years, trying to find the Cuckoo Bar in 1977, after it was left in the bush from 1929. Remember, we only had, I had a picture, had a bit of we had some basic GPS coordinates. Well, they weren't GPS, they were actually Latin long, because he never had GPS back then.
Yeah.
40 years ago. Same old story, mate. You look at that country on Google Earth, and you go, oh, that's
easy.
Yeah, what are you worried about?
Ah, you're kidding. Ha!
What do
That
you
ain't the
got?
only problem, Jase.
What do you got?
Oh, no. I was only talking about that just before.
Bugger.
We got a flat too. Oh, look there.
3 vehicles in a row, left-hand wheel.
This is what we're dealing with. You can't even see that. And that is like razor sharp and hard as a rock.
200 punctures. Look, we'd hit 200 punctures by then, because there was 4 vehicles. Don't forget the camera truck that you don't see.
Yeah. Imagine if you did break down out there and you couldn't get your car back up.
You know what happened in here, eh? You know things went pear-shaped.
No, when the quad bike caught fire.
Yeah.
He'd jump off that thing, like pretty high. He'd come up pretty high off that bike, and then he was chasing, running around, and I had water and beer water, and there was a lot of swearing going on at the time. So I ran to the camera crew truck, opened the fridge because we were looking for water. I did ask if he had a fire extinguisher. Anyway, I ran on the back, straight past that bike. I go and open the fridge, and all I can see is 4X gold, and I said, this will have to do. So I ran over with 2 and shaking it as I'm going, crack it open, pour it on top. I think it got it. It's not burnt anymore, so it was 4X gold, mate. So I didn't waste any 2 cans. That's not bad, but 2 4X can on, $60,000 and $80,000 bike. I think we did good.
Well, this is looking for the plaque now.
Yeah. There's a lot going on here, eh?
This was a camp.
You want to grab the shovel?
He's found it.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah! Look at that shit.
Woo! Look at that!
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's gold! Woo! Found it.
That looks like it was easy. We were there for freaking half a day.
Yes! 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 Gordon, mate. Gordon. Well done. I still get goosebumps.
Yeah, that was
that was epic. Aviators, Keith Anderson and Robert Hitchcock. perished in this area in April 1929 after their aircraft, the Cuckoo Bar. Dick Smith, Cuckoo Bar expedition, July 1977.
There you go. Historically, for us, that was pretty epic.
Yeah.
Had a lot of meaning behind that.
Oh, 100%. We achieved a lot out of that. Now, having permission to be there was 100% means that all for Adventures vehicles were covered,
Yep.
fully covered by Club 4x4, and if we needed recovery, some silly bugger would come all the way out there and recover
Take
it.
us back.
Oh, look, I reckon they would have to be some of our most remote locations that we have ever visited in Australia.
Away from civilization.